Hello and welcome back to the another episode of the Hindu News Analysis. Well, the date is 3rd September 2025, and in this video we are going to discuss some important articles which are very much relevant for your preparation. Before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give you the approach which we will have while discussing these articles so that you will be well prepared for it. First, with respect to every article, we will try to discuss what is the summary of the article. We'll try to understand what the article is about, what does it talk about, what are the important points which we can get from it. After that, we'll jump to the another part where we will discuss the key points in the article which are important for you to note down and from where you can expect the questions. And then the third part where we will discuss the possible prelims and mains questions. So this is what our approach would be with respect to every article. Now, without any delay, let us start our discussion by looking at the first article which we had brought here. Well, the article is again about the governor's role and the with respect to the bills in states. Governor's role with respect to bills. So in this regard, in while discussing this article, we will have to look into two important articles, which is Article 200 and Article 201. So before we'll jump into this discussion, I would like to give the brief idea why this news is here, why there is discussion over it. From if we look at the constitution perspective of the governor's role, and if we look at how governor was assumed to be, it was the connecting link. Governor should have been the connecting link between the center and state, and at the same time governor was as an oversight to the state. But if the state legislature, if they will try to go outside the constitution, then governor will stop them. So this was the main objective of the governor being there. But unfortunately, by time, this has been the trend in the states. For example, if there is a government in the center which is governed by some other political party, and in the state there is another political party where the chief minister belongs to another political party, we often see in such states we see the tussle. For example, with respect to Tamil Nadu and West Bengal, especially as the case revolves around them, so we often see the tussle between the governor and the CM of that particular state. What does governor do if there is any bill passed by the state legislature? The governor will withhold it for unlimited time, because constitution was not clear for how long the governor should withhold it. So with respect to this, in 2024, the Tamil Nadu government and the West Bengal government, they went to the Supreme Court, and eventually the Supreme Court, under three judges judgment bench, they gave a judgment that the governor can maximum withhold his assent for how many days, or for how many months? For 3 months. This is the maximum time where the governor can withhold withhold his assent. After that, it will be assumed that it has been passed. After that, it will be assumed that it has been passed. So it was the maximum time given by the courts to the governor, and it was assumed that right now the courts are doing the judicial overreach. By giving such judgment, the courts are doing the judicial overreach. So in this regard, recently the president sent the request to the Supreme Court again to review it, to give the proper analysis of it. So to give the advisory with respect to this. So this is the whole story behind it. I hope you had understood it. Now, what is this? What is the development right now? The development is that, as governors, as you can see the title of this article, it says that governors can't sit on the bills endlessly. According to few judges which are listening this case, according to them, the governors can't sit on bills endlessly. There should be a time limit. But at the same time, there are few judges which are saying that we cannot prescribe the earlier judgment which we gave in 2024. We cannot prescribe such judgments, because we cannot prescribe the time limit to them, such time limit to them. So this is the whole discussion with respect to this. So I hope right now you are very much clear about what is going on, what is the news, and what is the tussle here. Now, with respect to this, let us see. First, we look into the articles, because Article 200 and 201 becomes important for you. So let's have a look let's have a look at the articles. Let's see what does they talk about. Then we'll move to the key points. Here, first, look at Article 200. It says governor's power to assent to bills. This article outlines the options available to a governor when a bill is passed by the state legislature and presented for assent to the governor. So the governor can give assent to the bill, making it a law. So this is the first option available to the governor. Then he can withhold assent, which effectively kills the bill, because here is no time limit for how long he can withhold it. So this is one of the drawback, or we can say this is one of the loophole in the article, and it was in a way misused by many governors. For example, if there is political party, as I told you in the earlier slide, if there is any political party who is governing at the center and there is another political party at the state level, then we will see often this tussle that the governor who is appointed by the center, in a way, he will withhold assent. Then there is the third option available to him. It is return the bill to the legislature for reconsideration, but once he will return it for the reconsideration, if the legislature passes it again with or without amendments, the governor must give assent. So these are the options. So the third option is governor has to third option, reserve the bill for the third option, return the bill to the legislature for reconsideration. If the legislature passes it with amendment or without amendment, then the governor must give assent to it. And then the fourth, it is reserve the bill for the consideration of the president. This is typically done for the bills that are unconstitutional, ultra vires, or they encroach upon the central government jurisdiction. So such bills are to be reserved for the president, and there are certain bills which they have to reserve for the president. For example, if it violates this high court, then it has to be reserved for the president. Or then there is also the discretion of the governor with respect to the bills which he can reserve it for the consideration of the president. But here there are certain things which the government has to see upon, and these are, if the bill is unconstitutional, it is ultra vires, or that encroaches upon the central government. Then here we have Article 201. It says the reservation of bills for president's consideration. This article deals with the bills reserved by the governor for the president's assent. The president can either assent to the bill or withhold the assent. The president can also direct the governor to return the bill to the state legislature for reconsideration. So these are the options available with the president. So this is the story here. Here, governor has the power. What are the governor's power under Article 200? Governor can give assent without any delay, and it is often seen in those states where there is same political party ruling at the center level. We will see governor will often give the assent without any delay or without any problem. Then second option which the governor has, it is to return the bill to the legislature for reconsideration. The governor will return this bill for the reconsideration, and then if they will repass it, if the legislature will repass it, then governor has no option but to pass it. Then the third option, reserve the bill for the consideration of the president. So these are the options available to the governor. And what are the options available to the president? Reservation of bills for the president consideration. The article deals with the bills reserved by the governor for the president assent. The president can either assent to the bill or withhold assent, or the president can also direct the governor to return the bills to the state legislature for the reconsideration. So with this, I hope you are sorted out with now what are the options available to the governor. But the only problem with this was there is no definite timeline given. So it would lead that the governors, they would often misuse as it is alleged by the Tamil Nadu government and the West Bengal government, that the governors would often misuse this power which they have. They will keep it, they will withhold it for unlimited time. And in this regard, the Tamil Nadu government and the West Bengal government, they approached the Supreme Court, and in 2024 the Supreme Court gave the verdict that by that within 3 months the governor should give assent. If the governor will not give assent, then the bill will go back to the legislature and they can repass it. Then the governor has no option but to pass it. So this was the story, and now the president sent this with respect to this case. The president asked the Supreme Court's advice, or it was a presidential reference to the Supreme Court. Now Supreme Court is again hearing this case, and now we are seeing that there is dilution in this judgment which they gave in 2024. We are seeing few judges are saying that. 3 judges are saying that there is governor cannot sit on the bills on unlimited time, but there are few judges which say that it is then overreach from the judiciary. So with this, I hope you are very much sorted out with the summary of the article. Now let's move to the key points which are important for you. Here, first, we will have to look into judicial observation. There are 3 of the 5 judges on the bench verbally stated that the governor should not sit on bills indefinitely as it impedes the function of the constitution. As we discussed, 3 out of 5 judges they said that the governor should not sit on bills indefinitely. Then, what is the state's argument? Tamil Nadu and West Bengal argued that a governor's delay is absurd and towards the constitutional scheme, and the governor must act with immediacy. The governor should act immediately. Then the third, what is center's argument is that governor have absolute power to withhold assent to state bills under Article 200. Yes, it is there, but there is darkness in it. There is, the language is not that clear there. So it definitely there we need the judiciary to intervene and to interpret this article for us. Then what are the sources of dispute? The case stems from a presidential reference that followed a 2024 Supreme Court judgment that had imposed a 3-month deadline for governors and the president to act on bills with an provision for deemed assent if the deadline was not met. If the deadline was not met, then there would be the deemed assent. Then what is the court's apprehensions? The present Supreme Court bench has expressed doubts about imposing a what is court's apprehension? The present Supreme Court bench has expressed doubt about imposing a general timeline and the concept of deemed assent. There is doubt. It seems that there is definitely doubt within the judges of this 5-judge bench, questioning whether such a move would amount to judicial overreach. Then what constitutional articles? The argument revolve around the interpretation of Article 200, which outlines the governor's power to give assent to bills, and it is interplay with the principles of federalism and the felt necessity of the times as expressed by the legislature. So this is what the article is about. I hope you had understood it. I hope everything is very much clear. Now let's move to the question which can be framed from this article. Here the question says, under which of the following articles can a governor reserve a bill passed by the state legislature for the consideration of the president? We had discussed it. We are discussing it. Under which of the following articles can a governor reserve a bill passed by the state legislature for the consideration of the president? It is Article 200. So with this, I hope you are sorted out with the article here. Now, here I would like to take a time to give you the brief introduction about this initiative, so that if you are new to our channel, you will get more connected with us. Basically from 2nd June 2024, we started an initiative. 2025, sorry, we started an initiative here by the name Target IAS 2026. Under this initiative, I promised you that every day I am going to upload 2 videos. One in the morning session, which is this video where we will take care of your current affairs. Whatever is required, whatever would be in the newspapers, we will try to discuss that here, and we'll try to derive these possible prelims and mains questions for you, so that you will find out how these articles are relevant for your preparation. And then in the evening session, I promised you that every day I'm going to upload here we are going to take care of your static syllabus. And here we started with Indian polity, which we had completed. We completed the governance, and now we are discussing the Indian history, which we started with the ancient history. And currently we had already completed 7 lectures of ancient history. So if you want to be the part of it, you are most welcome. Please do subscribe the channel, do share it with your friends, so that they may also get benefited from this initiative. And please do write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. And with this, I would like to mention one thing here, that as we are delivering these lectures here, at the same time we are preparing notes for you. These notes are very beautifully written, very comprehensively written. Everything what is required for you to clear the exams, that would be there. That I can promise you. Every topic would be there. And the good part about these notes are that after every concept which we had discussed here, there would be the possible prelims or mains question, so that it will give the idea how the questions could be asked from these concepts. So if you want to get access to these notes, what you will have to do, you will have to mail me at salvation UPSC 136@gmail.com, and you will be told to pay only 200 rupees to get access to it in the electric copy. So this is what you will have to do. With this, I hope if you want to be the part of it, you will subscribe the channel. And now let's move to the another article, and let's have a look at what does it talk about. Here it talks about India needs more women judges in the Supreme Court. So now the second article, it says India needs more women judges in the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, so far, if we look at the data, we don't had a single woman Chief Justice of India. And if we look at the representation of women, if we look at the representation of women in judiciary, it is very low, very below. And also with respect to the, if we look at the minority judges, that's also low according to this article. So here with respect to this, we will analyze the key points because it is a data based article. We'll try to find out what are the key points in the article, and then we'll try to discuss them, and then we'll move to the questions part and try to answer the question here. So here the article, it talks about the current representation as of the article, as of today's date, which is 9 September. As of the today's date, there is only one woman judge, Justice BV Nagaratna, out of full strength of 34 judges in the Supreme Court. And historical and there is also the, so there is only 9 judges, only one judge, which is Justice BV Nagaratna, out of a full strength of 34 judges in the Supreme Court. Though, so representation of women judges is very low in the Supreme Court. Then what is the historical disparity? Since its inception in 1950, only 11 women judges have been appointed to the Supreme Court, which accounts for a minuscule 3.8% of the total judges appointed. So till so far, out of 287 judges, only 11 judges have been 11 women judges have been appointed so far, which comes, the data is only 3.8%. Then what is the dissent and collegium process? The dissent of Judges B.V. Nagaratna, the only woman judge in the collegium, was not taken into consideration for a recent appointment, raising questions about the procedure and consideration of women's views. So definitely, as it was expected that maybe she will get the opportunity to be the Chief Justice of India, but she was not, appointed. She was not considered. So it raises the questions with respect to the how we are treating. Is there the patriarchy in the judiciary? Is it still prevailing there? Then also there is the lack of, according to the article, there is lack of diversity. There is a total absence of women judges from scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. The only woman judge from a minority faith has been Justice Fatima Bibi. So she was the only minority judge from the minority faith. Definitely there is also the lack of diversity in this regard. Then also there is delayed appointments. Women are often appointed at later age, which limits their tenure and opportunities to be part of the collegium or to become the Chief Justice of India. So they are often appointed very late. And also with respect to Justice B.V. Nagaratna, is scheduled to be the first woman Chief Justice of India, but not only for a very short tenure of 36 days. She is scheduled to be the Chief Justice of India, but only for very short time, that is tenure, that is 36 days. Then also there is disparity in bar appointments. Only one woman, Justice Indu Malhotra, has been directly elevated to the Supreme Court from the bar compared to 9 men. So there is also the disparity is also there. And now what does the article says? It calls, there is the call for the institutionalization. The author urges for a transparent and written policy to institutionalize gender, caste, religion, and regional representation in judicial appointments, which are currently being done without clear public criteria. So this is what this article talk about. There is data, which you can use in your mains exam if any asked with respect to the representation of women in judiciary. Definitely we lack it at the highest levels. Also there is lack of diversity in it. We don't have the judges from different, only the judges from the majority faith are there often seen. So with respect to this, we see this. And right now, what is the need? The need, author suggests that there is the need for the institutionalization. We need to institutionalize gender, caste, religion, and regional representation in judicial appointments. This is what the article talks about. So with this, let us see what kind of question can be asked here. A basic prelims question. It says, with reference to Supreme Court of India, which of the following statements are correct? First statement, the Supreme Court can have a maximum of 34 judges, including Chief Justice of India. That is true. Second, the Supreme Court has so far had only a woman one woman Chief Justice of India. No, yet there is no woman Chief Justice of India, and it is expected maybe there would be one very soon. Then the third, the collegium system for appointing judges to the Supreme Court is mentioned in the Constitution. No, it is not at all mentioned in the Constitution. And if you want to know more about the judiciary, I would recommend you to go to the Play Store, to my channel, and you will see I have a separate videos for Indian polity, and there you can see the judiciary, which we had discussed in detail, and there you can get the more idea about Indian judiciary. So with this, let's move to the another part of this another article here. It talks about the sickle cell, the battle for disability justice. Sickle cell, the battle for disability justice. So again, this article is again with respect, it talks about the sickle cell, the people suffering from such disease, but unfortunately the benefits which they get from the government are very minute, and even though the government is giving them the benefits, for them to get the certificates, it becomes very difficult, because they cannot, it is not something which is evident, it is something which is very much hidden, and to get these certificates it becomes very much difficult for them. So this article, it talks about different things which we will see in the key points here. First article talks about the revised guidelines. The Indian government's guidelines provided a framework for assessing the disability of individuals with sickle cell disease and other related blood disorders. So the what is the benchmark made by the guidelines? It is the 40% benchmark. The you know, the Representation of People with Disabilities Act of 2016 uses a 40% benchmark disability as a threshold for individuals to avail of certain benefits, including free education and reservation. So, according to the Representation of People with Disabilities Act of 2016, if any person is having the 40% benchmark disability as a threshold, then he will get some benefits from the government, for example free education and reservation. But here there is exclusion from quota. Despite the new guidelines, individuals with SCD and other blood sickle cell disease and other blood disorders are not included in the 4% reservation quota for public sector employments, which has drawn criticism. They are not included in this 4% reservation. Then what is the critique of assessment? The author argues that the reliance on a rigid objective score for medical boards and hospitals is flawed. That if we will see, the sickle cell disease is an invisible, which I discussed, is a debilitating condition with fluctuating symptoms. For example, sometimes they will have intense pain, fatigue, organ damage that disrupt life but may not meet the 40% benchmark. You know, according to this statement, these patients, they will have fluctuating symptoms. Sometimes they will have immense pain. They will feel fatigue often. There would be organ damage. But at the same time, if we look at the benchmark given by the Representation of Peoples with Disabilities, it is 40% benchmark. They cannot come under this 40% benchmark, but definitely because of this, their lifestyle gets impacted. They are not able to work. So definitely they need the reservation there. They need the help from the government. So the article critiques this 4% reservation. They are not included, and also this 40% benchmark. Then certification barriers. There are certain certification barriers. The process of obtaining a disability certificate is a major barrier too, especially for marginalized communities in rural and remote areas, due to difficulty of arranging diagnostic tests or traveling to district hospitals. So this is also one of the issue. Then reforms advocated. The article proposes two key reforms: extend job reservation, include individuals with SCD in the 4% employment quota to acknowledge their conditions as significant lifelong disability. Then reform certification process, adopt a more holistic approach that accounts for the socio-economic and emotional toll of the disease, moving beyond a purely biomedical lens. So these are some reforms which are mentioned by the article here. So with this, I hope this article is clear. It talks about the peoples with sickle cell anemia disease, you know, how they are excluded from the reservations, from the benefits given by the government because of the benchmark which was set by the Representation of Peoples with Disabilities Act 2016. So article argues here we need to move away from it, and we need to include this the sickle cell disease in this 4% employment quota. And also, while getting the certificates, it is very harsh and difficult for these patients. So we need to ease it for these patients. So this is what the article in nutshell talks about. Now let's move and see what kind of question can be asked in the exam. Here the question says, with reference to the rights of persons with disabilities Act 2016, which of the following statement is correct? First, the Act defines a benchmark disability as an impairment of 40% or more. That is true. The Act provides a 4% reservation in government jobs for all persons with disabilities, including those with blood disorders. That is also true. That is incorrect because SCD is not included. The act is aligned with the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. That is true. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3 only. So with this, I hope you had understood the article here. Now let's move to the another article and try to figure out what it is about. Well, we recently saw that there was Shanghai Cooperation Organization, where there was summit in China, and we saw that how PM Narendra Modi, he took part in it, and it was he was the limelight of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and we saw that this summit, it gave a new trend in our India's foreign policy, and this is what the article talks about. You know, our conditions, how we were aligning towards the West from last 20 to 30 years. Our alignment with the with West was moving very steadily. We were moving towards the West. We were aligning towards the Israel. We were aligning towards the towards USA. But unfortunately, post Donald Trump's second term and the tariff wars, this relationship derailed, and now it is right time for India to think and to approach what is good for India, what is good for our self interests. And in this regard, we are seeing that there are improvements in this. We are trying to engage with the China. You know, with China, we have border issues, we have various issues. There are no direct flights, and we are trying to sort these issues very quickly. And this is what the article talks about. And we also, there are various things, you know, in this Shanghai Cooperation Organization, there was joint condemnation of the terrorism, cross border terrorism. So this is something which India has always wanted, that these countries should support this approach. So with respect to this, we are seeing that there is changing trend in India's foreign policy, and this is what the article is talking about. Now, as we discussed the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the summit many times, let's move to the key points and try to figure out what was given in the article, and then let's move to the question part. Here it says foreign policy shift. The visit to Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, a Eurasian group seeing as an anti-Western, signals a shift in India's foreign policy, possibly due to mistrust of US intentions following new tariffs. That is very much clear. Then India-China reapproachment. PM Modi's meeting with the President Xi Jinping was their first bilateral engagement since the 2020 military standoff. The two leaders agreed to normalize relations, fast track the boundary resolution process, and resume direct flights and visa facilitation. So it is definitely what we are going to work on. Then SEO declaration and stances. The Tianjin declaration included a paragraph condemning cross-border movements of terrorists, a notable point of agreement. Then the declaration also saw common ground on the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and condemnation of US-Israel strikes on Iran. Then, however, India maintained its opposition to a paragraph supporting China's Belt and Road Initiative due to sovereignty concerns. So this is something which we have to deal with, the China's Belt and Road Initiative. Even though we want to get close to China, but we know how China is, how their debt trap diplomacy works, and how they are dealing, how they are trying to be the world power, and they can do anything for that. And in this regard, we have to be very cautious. But at the same time, it is for the self-interest. We have to deal with them. There is huge trade deficit. We will have to work on it, and we will have to work for the betterment of the Indian subcontinent. What are the new initiatives? Chinese President Xi Jinping proposed the establishment of an SCO development bank to fund regional projects, an idea that has been under discussion for a decade. And PM Modi suggested initiating a civilization dialogue among SCO members. That is something which is great and which can be asked in the prelims exam. This civilization dialogue, which was suggested by PM Modi, was in which summit? There may be options: G20 summit or whatever it would be. You should know in which summit it was there. So with respect to this, I hope it is now very much clear the success of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Now let's move to the question part and let's try to solve it. Here the question says, with reference to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which of the following statements are correct? First statement: India and Pakistan became full members of SCO in 2017. Correct. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization's core objective is to promote multilateral security and cooperation in the Eurasian region. That is true. India has formally endorsed all connectivity projects under China's Belt and Road Initiative. That is totally incorrect. Even though if you did not knew the answer of this statement, this word all, it was enough to help you solve this statement. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? Statement 1 and statement 2. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. With this, let's move to the another part. Here it is about PM Modi's receives first made in India Vikram 32-bit chip. So it is something, it is indigenously developed and it can be relevant for the exam. Let's have a look at the key points here. Indigenous technology, the Vikram 32-bit processor is a made in India chip designed and developed by the ISRO's Vikram Sarabhai Space Center and the Semiconductor Laboratory in Chandigarh. Please do note this down because it can be very much important. A question from about this from this article can be asked from this statement, which has who has designed it and who has developed it. It is ISRO's Vikram Sarabhai Space Center and the Semiconductor Laboratory in Chandigarh. Then what is space application? The chip is an upgraded version of the Vikram 1601 microprocessor, which has been used to the avionics systems of ISRO's launch vehicle. So please do know that ISRO's launch vehicle since 2009. This highlights its advanced launch vehicle grade quality. Then what is the broader ecosystem? The Momento also included 31 other prototype chips developed by leading academic institutions, showcasing a collaborative pan-India effort in semiconductor research and development. Then what is the progress in Indian semiconductor mission? The Union Minister noted that in the 3.5 years since the mission's launch, the world's confidence in India has grown. He stated that 5 semiconductor units were under construction and one pilot line already complete, and 2 more units expected to begin production within 2 months. And here India as a manufacturing hub, the minister pictured India as a reliable manufacturing hub due to its stable policies which cover all critical aspects of the manufacturing sectors. Even though these two lines are not that important for you, but what is important with respect to you, with respect to your exam, is that it is the indigenously developed. What are the organizations responsible for its design and development? You need to know that, and where it is used. So with respect to this, let's have a look at what kind of question can be asked from this article. Here the question says, with reference to India's semiconductor industry, which of the following statements are correct? First, the Vikram 32-bit processor is an indigenous chip designed by ISRO and SCL. Correct. The Indian semiconductor mission aims to make India self-reliant in electronics manufacturing. That is true. Nothing wrong with this statement. Third, the Vikram 1601 microprocessor was the first chip to be used in India's satellite system, not in the India satellite system, but launch vehicle. So this statement is also incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only, and from the code given below, the correct code will be option B. With this, let's move to the last article of today's discussion. It is about India's Navy's first training squadron docks in Seychelles. So let's have a look at it. What were these ships which were responsible for it? The ships involved were Indian Navy's INS Tir, INS Shardul, and INS and Indian Coastal Guards ICGS Sarathi. So this is what you need to know. Then what is the mission? The ships are part of the first training squadron long range training development. Location: the ships arrive at Port Victoria in Seychelles, a key location in the southwest West Indian Ocean region. So these are some few important key points about this article. With this, I hope you are very much ready to answer any question with respect to it. If you want to get access to this PDF, what you will have to do, you will have to mail me at salvation UPSC at the rate salvation UPSC 136 at the rate gmail.com, and you will get access to this PDF, to this PPT. So with this, let's see what kind of question can be asked. Here it is a comprehension based question. It gives you the how to read the article or what you can extract from the article. Here the question says, which of the following Indian naval ships is a part of the first training squadron mission in the article? So what are the ships? It is INS Tir, INS Shardul, and Indian Coast Guards ICGS. INS Tir Talwar is not there. INS Shardul is there. INS Sukanya not there. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be 2 and 3. The correct option would be option B. With this, I will complete my today's discussion here. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Please do subscribe the channel and share it with your friends. Thank you.